Yes, people, how are we doing? So back with the Do It Right podcast, and we've got a very special guest on this morning, which is Jordan Breen. So obviously, if you come to my event the other day, you'll have seen him kind of speak about everything that he does, and if you don't follow him on social media, you should do. So as we can basically see in the background, this guy is an artist, but he's not just any old artist. I come across Jordan probably over a year ago now, and I first saw him through Sean Casey's page in because he'd done a painting for them, and I was like, wow, like this is fucking ridiculous what this guy can do. And I'm a massive, my job is business and fitness and all that type of stuff, but I love anyone who's got fucking talent. Should start no, was it Yorkshire's Got Talent or something? But you know what I mean? But I love anyone who's basically got a passion for something and a clear talent. And Jordan is an absolute animal when it comes to doing what he does. And that's the reason why I obviously got him speaking at the event the other day, talking about going from talent to transcendence and all of the things that he's had to kind of go through to get to where he is right now, because it's been one fucking hell of a journey, which I'm sure we'll talk about on today's podcast. But do you want to, as a starting point, just introduce who you are, bro, where you're from, and just basically give a bit of an intro?
Yeah, no worries. I'm Jordan Breen, 26-year-old full-time artist, and I'm born and raised in a small town in Northern Ireland called Enniskillen. And yeah, my whole life I was just obsessed with drawing, but I never painted. And then when the lockdown happened in 2020, I just decided to teach myself how to paint, and just went all in from then until now. And that's my full-time job.
How do you, this is what I don't understand. How the fuck do you just turn around and, so did you, when you were a kid, did you paint?
Nah, not at all. Like,
so how old were you the first time that you actually decided, right, I'm going to paint something?
Lockdown, 4 years, whatever, must have been like June 2020 was the first like proper painting I did. I'm sure in school and all I fucked about with paint, but like I was never good at it, so I just avoided it. But like I was always good at drawing with pencils, you know what I mean? It just felt easier, so I just stuck with that.
So you were doodling. So when you were at school, were you always like doing like your little drawings at corner?
Always drawing with fucking books and all. But like, even as like realistic art, I was always good at art, if you know what I mean. Like growing up. But then just as I got older, I got better, and then I went to university and just fucking didn't create any art for a few years. Fell out of love with it.
What did you do at university?
I went and studied 1 year of fashion design, but I never went in, and like I was just gonna get kicked out. But I was like, fuck, I want to keep staying in Liverpool. I want to get another year of student funding. So I was like, I'm just gonna change course, felt healthier. So then I went and did graphic design for 3 years, and that's what I graduated in. But like, I never had any intention of using it.
But obviously, graphic design's all kind of. Was it Adobe? Is it?
Yeah, just like anything like Photoshop or just anything like digital sort of design. But like I just didn't apply myself. I swear I didn't know how to apply myself then. I was lost in uni.
So when you obviously come to lockdown and you're like, right, sweet, I'm gonna fucking start painting. Where so I've had this, one of my mates basically taught himself, so Josh Cardwell, even though he's the biggest idiot known to man, like that guy can teach himself how to do stuff. So he basically taught himself how to cut hair. So like in lockdown, he basically become a barber for most of the lads. And then after that, I was like, oh wait, if he can teach himself how to do that, I'm going to buy him a camera and he's going to teach himself how to do videos. And he did it. I'd really struggle with that. I just don't think my brain computes in that type of format to be like, right, I've got a new skill, I'm suddenly going to do it. So when you basically had that initial instinct where you was like, right, I'm going to come in and I'm going to teach myself how to paint, where the fuck did you start? Like that's the process I want to know. How the hell do you actually teach yourself to paint like that? That's what I don't understand.
Like I wasn't really a matter of teaching myself. It was just a matter of just doing it every day, and I feel like I just picked up, I just figured it out day by day. Like I think maybe that's where my real skill is, just being able to do something consistently and like learn from what I was doing the day before, and just get better every single day. That's what I felt like, because it wasn't really a matter of thinking like, right, I'm just gonna work on this bit now. I just thought if I painted enough, I would just gradually figure out. It's almost like muscle memory in a way too. But it did take me maybe a year of consistency to actually start getting like, it's all starting to connect the dots now. Then maybe it took about 3 years in for it to really start like snowballing, you know, the skills, I think.
But so what type of this is I love podcasts where it's like learning stuff that I've no idea about. What are the stages to creating a painting? Right, so like so let's just say I've got this fucking blank piece of paper. Well, it's not blank, it's got my endless to-do list on. But I've got this blank piece of paper here right now, and I want to draw a picture. Like, where do I fucking start?
Well, it depends what, like, I always work from, like, a reference photo, so nothing I create just, like, comes straight from my brain onto the canvas. So it obviously, if it was a commission, I'd get the reference photo from the client, and then it would just be a matter of sketching it out in the canvas. Once it's sketched out, I have to start painting. Like, I just have a bit of a system in my head. If I'm working on a portrait, I'll always start with the eyes, nose, and mouth. Then it kind of feels like they're the most important bits, and then I'll just, like, work out from there, because that's, like, the foundation, and it's kind of just, like, work a segment at a time. Like, in my head, it's like never about just creating the whole thing. It's like every day I just know what I'm gonna try to paint. So it's just like broken down to like 100 little steps. So it doesn't, I don't know, it's hard. It doesn't really feel like I'm doing a painting. I feel like I'm just doing these little steps that are in my head.
Right, that there, guys, that is talent. What John? So I've just basically tried to test him, going, right, what's your formula? What's your step-by-step process? There ain't fucking one. Like, that's, do you know what I mean? There isn't one. It's just a case of, well, I just look at a painting and I draw it. Like, that's basically a raw, natural fucking talent. Like, I wouldn't even be able to compute how you can even do that and how you can obviously kind of process it. So let's just say that you've got to that point now. So that's obviously with the sketching and the outline. What about when it comes to colours? Like, I don't know if anyone's watching this who actually listened in art class, right? I would have no idea what colour to put together to create a different colour or anything else on that side.
I guess, like, I didn't really learn that in art in school either. Like, I suppose something I struggled with painting for the first year or two was, like, the colours. But once I figured out that you can mix any colour properly with the primary colours, like yellow, blue, red, and white. I know you can do that anyway, but then I don't know what it was. I just figured out that I could mix any skin tone with that. So now I just use red, yellow, white, and blue to mix any colour I need. And it's just a matter of mixing the palette before I start painting. And then I don't know if it's like intuition or just practice, but like my brain just seems to know what colour to mix next for what I need to put on the canvas. And most of the time it's just pretty accurate. But even when I'm painting, it's like I'm almost learning as I go too. Like when I'm starting to paint, I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it. Like it's just a matter of just like keep doing it until it's right, because you can just keep on painting. You know what I mean?
What happens when you make a mistake?
But like people ask me this all the time, like, oh, what if you make a mistake? But like it's kind of like a constant mistake and like a constant process of just like painting, seeing what it looks like, and then oh, I need to add this or take away that. Like I don't know. If I dropped a massive bit of paint on like a face, that would be like, oh fuck, I'm just gonna have to paint over it. But like I don't know, there's no real mistake, if you know what I mean. Obviously, you can get the proportions wrong and stuff like that, but it's just a matter of taking a step back and figuring it out. That's why some paintings can take a lot longer than others. It's just process.
I'm gonna challenge Jordan right now. So basically, in essence, if he comes to the event and he's seen the post that I put up, I kind of helped him like value himself, get himself into bigger commissions and all stuff on that front. But I also know that when I've spoke to him previously, and what he spoke about the event is he wants to eventually go down the line in terms of like teaching people how to actually create art. Right, so my fucking question to you is, if you've not got a method and if you've not got a strategy, how are you going to teach someone else to do it?
I think it's just a matter of figuring that out. Like, because the way I am, I think, obviously, there is a method in my brain, but my problem is, like, figuring out how to get that out of my brain on the paper. And I know I can do it. I just need to spend the time figuring it out. And that might take a year of just developing this whole framework that you can teach. And I'm definitely, like, figuring out more in my head the longer I do it. But again, like, obviously, knowing how to paint myself and then teaching people is a completely different thing.
Yeah, and I'm going to highlight here, guys. So even for an artist, if he wants to expand his offering, he's going to need strategies, systems, and SOPs. He's going to need documents. So, regardless of what business that you are in, it will always come back to making sure that everything is in step-by-step documents. So that's basically how my whole business runs. That's what smart scaling is. Smart scaling is basically an asset and an SOP for absolutely everything that you ever fucking need. Because it's without question the one thing that kind of allows you to scale. So it's like Jordan right now is at a bottleneck because not in terms of his own commission and artwork, but if he wants to expand his company out, he can't expand it out because all of the information that he needs is just in his fucking brain. which is great because you've got knowledge, you've got talent, you've got experience, and you can do that. But when it comes to expanding to something much greater than just yourself doing something, like, that's where you've got to really think about of like, look, what is my actual method here? So if you're an online coach or personal trainer watching this, is like, if you've got setters, they need to have SOPs, sales closers, SOPs, coaches, SOPs, managers, SOPs, SOPs, graphic designers, SOPs. Like, everything comes back to actually really making sure that you're documenting that. So for example, with Jordan there, like, one thing that I try and get people to do is get investment into this as early as possible in your business. So when you're like, look, I've obviously got a process for this right now. And this commonly happens when people get to a point where they need to like hire admin assistants, and they want to hire like VAs and stuff to help them with their own tasks. And I'm like, how are you supposed to hire someone to help you with what you're doing if you have not actually documented the format of how you are doing it? So that's just a little lesson for everyone, to make sure that every single thing that you are doing inside your business needs to have a fucking step-by-step process, because otherwise it will bottleneck you and cause problems down the line. And as Jordan's, well, to be fair, Jordan's not in a rush because he's obviously got a lot of commission work coming in and he's selling a lot of prints, but the longer that you take and slower that you take and the better quality those are, then the more better information obviously people can process, rather than having to go, right, we're going to obviously build everything else from that front. So what would you suggest, right? What would you recommend? So if I'm is your initial thought process when you're looking to educate people to get into art, what is it that you want to help them with?
Well, that's what I've been trying to think about. And the idea I've been more toying about recently is like maybe creating a course, like some sort of roadmap for someone to go from a hobbyist to a career. Because I think right now, I'd have better skills for teaching that than teaching someone how to paint, if that makes sense. Because I've been through that whole process in the last few years. I feel like I could teach someone that. I could make a good course compared to like teaching someone how to paint. But my idea would be to initially maybe release a course like that and then have the painting course all under the same sort of business.
So almost like teaching someone how to actually create a business out of what their hobby is.
I guess so. And that would just like touch like just everything I've learned so far and like what I think you need. Because I reckon the way I did it's definitely a lot different than any other artist that I really know of. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's just almost. Yeah, it's hard because like that's almost like the battle between me when I had CP Education and the coach consultant. So CP Education was teaching people how to coach. Coach consultant is teaching people who can coach how to build a business. And it's much fucking harder to teach someone the skill of actually doing it compared to the latter.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, obviously Jordan's got a massive following. Like, how many thousand artists do you reckon you've actually got on your Instagram page?
That follow me? Thousands, I would say. And it's like hard to even know. I don't really go through my followers, but just based off like the DMs you get and the engagement you get from different artists. And there's just so many art accounts out there. And the thing is, I think like there's such a market for it just because so many artists don't know how to do it. If you know what I mean?
Mate, like, it's a great offer. It's definitely a fucking guy. Put it this way, I've never seen a mentoring artist before.
Yeah, I've seen a few, but like they're just the same gimmicky bullshit. You know what I mean? Like this is clearly not real. I feel like mine could be like a simple step-by-step guide how you could actually do it. I think it would work.
No, I think that's a good starting point. So obviously, as we spoke about, when you were at the event the other day, so there's some stuff that I obviously like didn't know, and that was some of the points where you was like, right, you were ready to kind of give up, you were ready to kind of stop with it, and I feel like there's a lot of people who are watching these YouTubes, for example, who may be struggling online coaches and struggling personal trainers, and it's part of the process. Look, I've struggled as a personal trainer, I've struggled as an online coach, I've struggled as an educator, I've struggled as a mentor, I've struggled as a consultant, I've struggled at events. Like, struggling is part of business, but what happens is because people have not got that experience and awareness for going through that before, it sometimes deflates people and they just simply give up. So do you want to basically highlight what you spoke about at the event where you was like, right, this is me kind of gonna pack this in, and what was your thought process to actually overcome that?
Yeah, well, there's probably been loads of times where I thought I was just going to pack it in at different stages. Obviously, like when I first came out of uni, I was working full time in that pub, and I was just painting all the time, and I just felt like I was getting nowhere. Like probably not until summer of 2023 or the first 6 months of 2023, I definitely felt like, fuck me, like, am I just going to have to give this up? That's probably my stubbornness too, or like just I don't think I've got the ability to give up. I just don't think my brain would allow me to do it. So I just thought, right, I'm just gonna have to just keep on enduring this shit because I'm bound to figure it out eventually. That was always just my mindset. Like if I just keep on doing this consistently, I'll figure it out. So like even meeting you, like that was kind of like just me figuring it out by being consistent. You know what I mean? Like obviously a year before, I had no idea how I was gonna charge more, but it was just that mindset thing. Like, oh, if I just keep on doing it, I'll figure it out. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't a matter about just like I need to figure out everything right in this moment. It was just doing one thing at a time consistently, and I would just get the knowledge eventually.
Yeah, I think we're in this day and age at the moment where there's so much short-term gratification.
Yeah.
So I've actually got I don't know if it's for this month or next month, but I did a post the other day and it basically explained that most businesses out there, so like if you look at the average businesses across every single sector that there is, they're not profitable for the first 2-3 years. So for the first 2-3 years of actually starting a business, a lot of companies, and by the way, there's a lot of companies who are 10 years old who are still running in massive debt. Whereas like in the online coaching world and personal training world, like you might have a fucking few months. You're never gonna. You don't have to spend 50 grand on products and manufacturing and all that type of stuff. Or like some companies are going into hundreds of thousands, millions of debt just to kind of get the company going. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there who's kind of got this short term gratification. Where it's like, oh well, I've tried for a little bit and it's not worked, so I'm gonna give up now. And you just can't look at it like that, because the best way I could describe this is that I've obviously got to this point of where I am in business right now. I still have days at this point now, despite having such a big team, such a big company, and I have my routine's great. I've got perfect balance with work life and everything else on that side. I still have days where I'm like, is this worth this? I still have those, and I feel like this is an area that I wrote a post up yesterday. Is like, I've achieved and broken every record and milestone that I've ever set at myself, but I still don't feel good enough, right? And when I kind of said that out loud, is like for a lot of my career from 20 to 26, 27, but it's very similar to you. Is like, oh well, when I get to that point, I'm going to be content. When I get to that point, I'm going to be content. And what you've got to take into account is that the feeling that you get when you set that new milestone is the same feeling that you get when it's not actually fucking working. It's the exact same feeling, because when shit's not working, it's almost like, fucking hell, like I'm a million miles away from where I want to be, and X, Y, and Z, and you feel low on yourself. When you hit a milestone and you set that next big goal, you've despite being fucking 10 levels up, you still feel exactly the same as back when you were struggling on your arse.
Yeah, it's mad. Like any milestone, like it doesn't. It feels different for maybe a few hours, and then you're just back to, because once you set the new target, it's like you're back at square one. You know what I mean? But,
oh yeah, it never ends, and it's like. But you can try and search.
To be fair, with what I'm doing, like I never really feel like I'm actually like chasing somewhere else. Like I don't really know. I just enjoy doing the day to day, and I think that's like, I don't know, just the hyper focus I have with the art. Because even like if I take a few days off, I always feel like it's almost like I'm not in that hyper focused state. So sometimes I'll be thinking like, what am I like? What is this? Like I don't know. But then once a day of work and then I'm back in it, I'm like, oh fuck yeah, I just love the day to day. It's just almost like I'm motivated by tomorrow, if that makes sense. I was chatting to someone about that recently. It's like I'm almost like I'm obsessed with momentum. Like I hate the idea of doing one painting one day and then taking a week off. But like the idea of painting for 14 days in a row gets me buzzing. Or like I love having a month where I finish loads of painting. So it's not really like an actual goal. It's like I'm obsessed with that feeling of being in the momentum and the flow state of like creating art and having new ideas. I think that's that drives me on. I think that's what I'm working towards.
So it's getting shit done.
Yeah, like that's what I think I'm just obsessed with. I like that. I think that's just the bottom line. Because people ask me like, oh, like you must be unbelievable to love what you do, and obviously I do love painting, but I don't think it's like the actual painting that I love the most. I think it's just the day to day doing stuff and like feeling like I'm just working towards something, or it's like piecing these little bits together to get to something else. Like if I'm launching a new print, I just love the idea of like trying to think of this wee marketing strategy, telling the whole story, thinking of the whole narrative, and then making it happen. But then once it's done, it's like it's not like a celebration. It's like, all right, I'm excited to think of the next thing.
Yeah, I put a post into our community chat yesterday, and I basically said that it's not enough to win the day; you need to win the hours. If you think in days, you'll do in days. If you think by the hour, you'll do by the hour.
Yeah, I remember. I don't know. I think it was when I first started painting. It must have been around 2020 when I moved back to Liverpool, and I think that's when I first started figuring out that I work really good with like a to-do list. And I swear I just did it one day, and it was such an intrinsic feeling. It was so weird. It just made me happy having this like hour by hour plan, and I couldn't even put my finger on why it just made me feel so good. But like I was doing things that I didn't enjoy, but just knowing what I had to do and doing it was weird. Felt weirdly really good, and that's what I just do to this day.
Yeah, confidence comes from achievements.
Yeah.
So people think that you need to have these mass level fucking goals and you hit that and then you're going to be suddenly feeling good.
Yeah.
If you literally, that is why, so like, despite all the systems I have, I do all my shit on there.
Yeah.
Because like literally, all I do is I just tick it off every single day and it's like, right, sweet.
Gives you a good buzz.
Yeah, and you just get that little dopamine hit where you're like, sweet, that's another bit of progress, that's another bit of progress, that's another bit of progress. Whereas when you go into the office or sitting down to work, and shit's just all over the place. You not really know what you're doing next. That's where you start to get that kind of self-doubt and that fear and everything else on that front.
You've got no certainty what you're actually doing, at least when it's written out and you know you've ticked it off. For like, it just makes me feel like, oh, I think I've done everything I've needed to do today, rather than just like fucking shooting in the dark, you know?
Yeah, it's like if you're looking at a goal and it's 10 steps away and all you're thinking about is I need to get to step fucking 10, it's that gap and that spacing that's causing all the problem. Whereas if you create a goal that's 10 steps a day, but you track back and go 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and all you focus on is getting to 1, then getting to 2, then getting to 3, then that is basically what Jordan's saying. That is momentum. So all you're doing is just accumulating more micro achievements to get towards a macro goal. Yeah. And a lot of the time, like, this is where people kind of fall short because they get into a state of paralysis by analysis. They're overthinking. But like I've said, God, I must bore the life out of people. Like, management builds high performance businesses. So whether it's acquisition, setting, sales, ads, client fulfillment, product development, whatever it is, everything will earn more money if it's managed better. And in order to manage something, all you need to do is just create a list of shit that needs to be done and then just do it. But like, there's a lot of people out there where they've not got a daily routine, they've not got a time block weekly schedule, they don't have active tasks that they need to set up and do from start of the day to the end of the day. And when you kind of operate in that type of zone, business is not fun in any way, shape or form. Right? When you are fucking turning up to work and it's aimless and you don't know what to fucking do next and you're not ticking boxes, there's nothing fun about it, because all you're doing is you're just questioning yourself based on like, oh, I should be doing this or I should be doing that. Whereas like Jordan said there, like, I'm fucking obsessed with lists. Everything I do is lists. So my whole job, I've just come off a call with some lads in Australia this morning at 7 a.m. and straight away off the back of that, I was like, 25 things on a list. Do that in that order with this, do it right, you're going to get to this point and you're going to earn a shitload more money, right? If you try and jump from that one to that one without doing that one first, that's going to cause a problem for you.
Yeah.
So, and that's all business is like, right, doing the things in the right order in sequence. So that is basically what my product is. That's my program. It's called Smart Scaling, because it's like, just do fucking shit in order. Just do it right, and you can't go wrong. I'm a massive believer that if you have a clear step-by-step structure and you put time and effort into it and you tick those boxes, you can't not win.
Yeah, 100%.
So when we're basically looking at where you are right now, just explain in terms of what your actual kind of product offering is at the moment, how you actually manage your commission work, how you manage doing all your prints, what you're doing in terms of like your marketing element to sell your prints. So obviously, like, people are going to have access to your live call, your event call at some point. But one thing that I don't know this is like, look, how do you actually manage the fact that you've got like fucking 10,000 people on a waiting list for a commission? How do you manage knowing what to do for your next print and you're dropping your marketing?
So with the commissions, like, since I've got such a big waiting list and like the demands are so high, I just have like them sign up to a landing page for the email waiting list. But then I just do two intakes for commissions per year. And it's pretty simple. Like, for the last year, I've just like sent out a retargeting email saying booking's really open, get it booked in with the deposits. End up taking in 10 at a time because I can only really do about 20 commissions per year. So it's just a matter of taking in 10 per intake, just put them in a spreadsheet, giving them like usually a 2-month time period of when I think I'll be able to get it done, because obviously it's hard to give a really accurate date because patents just take longer. And that's something I'm getting better at, giving more accurate things, because at the start, like, I did struggle because patents would just take longer and longer and longer, and then one patent led to another, and then it'd just be like sometimes be doing them a couple of months late. But people understand this because they understand that it takes a long time. So yeah, so that's how I kind of manage my commissions. It's actually quite simple. And then with my original patents, this year especially, I've kind of reduced my commission numbers so I can do more of my own patents and release prints. So this year I'm just trying to do one original and turn to a print every month. And it's just a matter of just doing the patent, turn into a print, and then launching the wee marketing strategy. I usually just do like, when I'm launching a print, it's usually kind of like a 2-week process. So obviously I do my email nurture, which would basically like usually like 6 or 7 emails, kind of usually telling the story around the print, around the idea of why I'm doing it, and just kind of nurturing these people up until launch day. And then on my social media, I would have like a 20% off offer and early access on launch day. So I'm just trying to capture emails for the 2 weeks leading up to the print launch, teasing what the painting's going to be about in stories and on socials, and kind of documenting the whole story of like why I'm creating it and bringing the followers along this journey. Because I always say, like, I'm not just selling art, I'm selling a feeling, like an emotional connection. And if the audience like connects with the art, they're way more likely to buy it than just something aesthetic on their wall. So for the 2 weeks before the print launch, I'll just bring them along this journey, try to make them connect with it. So like that last one I did, which was called Fill Your Own Cup, it's about like self-love, and I launched it the day before Valentine's Day. So the whole idea was,
what's that one? Is that on your page?
Yeah, it's the one with the Guinness glass with the black rose in it.
Oh, right, yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah, so the whole idea,
good.
The idea was called Fill Your Own Cup, and like the rose is a metaphor, and the Guinness glass, well, the Guinness glass was like a metaphor for yourself. You have to fill yourself with love before you can give love to anyone else, because if you're running on empty, you're not going to be good for anyone. Because obviously that's relatable to me, and I knew that story would be relatable to loads of other people, and I try to make it seem like this art is like popping on your wall as a reminder. It's not just like something you put up on your wall. Like, there's stories behind it that you want to keep yourself a reminder of. And that's just why I feel about it.
The Guinness with a black rose in there. I was looking at your Instagram there.
Yeah. So that's the one.
What's the next plan? So this is an interesting discussion. So what gaps do you think are missing for people in terms of like art? So the best way I can describe this, guys, is I might be able to show you if I turn my camera around. So I basically have these paintings on my wall. So I've got that one over there, which is basically like what represents an explosion. And I have this one here, which is basically like a neutral colour. So they cost me quite a lot of fucking money, in all fairness. But basically, if I look at why I actually purchased those art, is in essence, there's a part of me that still has that kind of aggression and that anger and that kind of fight. And for a very, very long time, I tried to suppress that part of myself. But what I realised is that's actually one of my biggest assets, is the fact that when I go, I just don't fucking stop. But also at the same time, I got the neutral blue paint in here because that was kind of my natural kind of flow. And when I was working with TMP, I kind of highlighted this. I was like, I've got kind of two sides. I've got one which is like go, 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 go. But then I've also got one where I'm in like a complete flow, like you when you're painting, like flow state where you don't even know what's going on. And that's why I basically got those paintings, because I have my desk positioned here, so all day I am looking at the neutral blue because that's where I want to stay. But sometimes I need to fucking be that person. I need to bring that through. So that's just a little bit of an explanation. So artwork is really, really important, because both of those paintings really do mean a lot to me, because it almost like represents my kind of characteristic types, and that's why I'm a massive fan of art. I love art. I've got Conor McGregor as a barbarian print over there. I've then got like some other ones on the wall, but art is really important to people, because it's art is almost like a reminder, and it gives you a feeling, it gives you an emotion. So I've got the painting from Jordan with me, Stacey, and Remy, and I walk into my living room every single day and I look at that. Like and that's why I love stuff like this, because it's got meaning, it's got purpose, it's got motivation, it's got kind of everything. So based on the fact that you've obviously done the fucking Guinness with the foam inside as one, you've done obviously the Guinness with a rose out. What is there externally that you're thinking about doing, which is not related to like your Guinness, and something that's a little bit different, what also connects to people's emotion?
I've had this idea recently where like it might be maybe next year we'll do it, where I'd like to do like a open exhibition where like I kind of almost change what I do in a way, where I might spend like 6 months creating these collection of paintings to exhibit like in real life, you know what I mean? And then also sell prints online. But that's just a half idea. But maybe something to do with like the passage of time. Because the idea came to me, I was like actually sitting in my garage putting away these boxes. And you know the way in like a packaging box it says like fragile, and and it had just like it's like a wee simple black illustration of like a broken glass, you know, just like what would be in a fragile box. And I was thinking, oh, that's like it's kind of a cool graphic. And I was thinking, how could I tie that into something? And I thought, what's fragile? I was like, time is fragile. Time is fragile. I was like, handle with care. Like you need to handle time with care, otherwise it'll slip by you. And I was thinking, as the illustration, instead of like the broken glass, it could be just like a really simple hourglass. And it's like, so imagine this, like the painting would be a painting of a realistic cardboard box with this black illustration of an hourglass, big black writing saying fragile, and then like handwriting saying, cool. Yeah, then handwriting saying time is fragile, and then handle with care. And then maybe something like the painting is of the realistic box, but as you get towards the bottom, the box is kind of getting like ripped apart, just kind of showing like time passing. So that was just my idea, thinking, and then try to build out like a collection around that whole sort of idea of time. And each painting would be like, another one I had was, don't forget to have fun, if you know what I mean. And like it could be, you know, like the way a clown would blow up like a balloon and like fucking make into a dog or something. I was thinking turn that balloon into like an hourglass shape, and it's like showing like don't forget to have fun along the way because time's always going to pass, and it'll be like a painting of that balloon. So like with the paintings, cool. I'm always just trying to think of like there's so much layers to it, you know what I mean? Because obviously the balloon is just like a metaphor for having fun, and then showing the hourglass is like time's going to pass, and you can have like part of the balloon deflating, and then just having it as a painting is just like a whole nother element to it. So then I would love to build out a whole collection based off time. But like the thing is with them ideas, like I think that time is fragile one, that idea like happened in my brain in maybe a minute. But like it was just like a fucking bomb going off, and that's one thing, and then I was like, oh cool, so I wrote it down, and now it's just stuck in my head. So I'll be already like with my ideas, I just kind of let them fester in my head for a long time, and I know eventually it'll all start to unfold. Because if I sat and tried to like write out this whole exhibition or idea for paintings, it just wouldn't work. So I just like I have one idea, and that one idea will lead to another. Like it'll just happen eventually in my head.
No, I completely agree with that concept. So I don't know if it was turning 30 years old, but I don't even know where the last 10 years have gone. I genuinely don't. It's like, and it's like, I think when you get to my age now and you start breaking 30 and going upwards, it's like you look back and you're like, fuck me, where's... And don't get me wrong, if I look back at the last 10 years, I feel like I have, as part of the message what I said to people yesterday with winning the hours and not the days, is there were a lot of days and a lot of weeks and a lot of months in my early 20s that I didn't win, and I would say that I almost wasted or didn't maximize. But that's one thing I can categorically say is like I've lived my fucking life. Like do you know what I mean? I've been to festivals all over the world. I've partied in different places across the world. I've obviously I've travelled. I've been in Africa 5 times, Australia, Fiji, Thailand. I've been to a lot of different countries, and the thing that I'm obviously doing at the moment is like different mountains. So, and that's something that I really, really believe in. Is like, look, you've got business, and business is always going to be there, and business is important, but for me, business basically allows me to just create more experiences. That is, when people talk about money and they talk about all that type of stuff, it's like, if I get to a certain point with business, then I'm creating more impact and I'm doing the right thing. That's going to make me feel really good about myself. But also at the same time, is if I get into a position where it's obviously really, really profitable and like I've got all this extra income, like that's good. That's just going into experiences. Like that's going into bigger fucking mountains. That's going into better family trips. That is all of this this kind of that is what means the most to me. So when you've obviously said about like how time is precious, like it's really important, because like there's nothing worse in business and in life than wasted time.
Yeah.
So this is one thing I say to a lot of people, where potentially they've got the wrong people in the business or they're doing the wrong thing, and I was like, do you know, in 2 years' time, you're not going to kick yourself at the money you wasted. You're going to kick yourself at the time.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
So
that's something, because as you were saying, like, about how like business is just like helps you have these more experiences. I think that's only something I've started to really realize in maybe the last 6 months, because I guess maybe I was operating from a place of like scarcity or like fear of it like falling apart. So like you wouldn't want to fucking live your life, or you just want to be in the business so long to reassure me that like, oh, it's gonna keep on working. But now, like, I think it was actually might have been when I was in Albufeira last summer. I think you DM me going like, oh, like, are you away for a week just fucking about? And I was like,
oh
yeah. And then we were talking about it, and you were saying, oh, like, what's the point unless you're actually like, enjoying it? And made me think like, it is true, like, you know what I mean? Actually, I just came back from Rome there last night. I was like, this in the past, I never would have took them few days off, but like, why not? Like, you need it.
What, you've been in Rome last 2 days?
I just came back last night.
Well, when did you go to Rome?
Sunday night. So me and my dad, and then I got back last night. Yeah.
For what reason? Just randomly wanted to go to Rome?
I got it for a Christmas present for him. He always wanted to go, so we went. Yeah. It was a good time.
Yeah, it's class. Did you go to Colosseum?
Yeah. We did all the Vatican Colosseum, Sistine Chapel. It's sick.
That's like, I'm obsessed with Gladiator, mate. It's my favorite. I need to send you what my next tattoo is, actually. So I've got it on Canva. I've just realised it's there. So my next tattoo is basically this phoenix. I need to get the bollocks to actually go and get it, because when I had my back done, I kind of just it put me off tattoos for life. But
it's this pain.
Yeah, oh my god, mate, it was horrific. I don't know if it's because like in my teens and early 20s, I was a bit harder. Whereas now, obviously, I'm like wife, kids, baby, so I'm a bit softer. I ain't got that kind of mentality. But it's basically this phoenix, what's kind of coming up into my stomach, and it's got like these 2 Roman horses. And I don't know if have you watched Gladiator?
I've actually never seen it, not gonna lie.
Oh my fucking god! Right, basically on his shield, the main guy has basically got this. It's got like these 2 horses on it, and then it's got like his wife and his daughter in like crouched position. So, and it's there. So it's like this phoenix with a triangle, 2 Roman horses, the baby and daughter, and space for another kid if we have another one. And then at the bottom it says, "Rise from the ashes of your struggles, stronger, brighter, and unbreakable." So that's maybe an idea of phoenix. Like, there's a lot of people. Do you know the story of a phoenix?
Not sorry.
Yeah, basically, in essence, the phoenix kind of, in essence, rose from the ashes. So basically, it's just kind of a metaphor that, like, look, when you've been burnt down, you can always fucking rise and kind of grow back, and that's basically what a kind of phoenix is. But yeah, I want to get it, but I'm just not sure when. Do you know what I'm surprised at? I'm surprised that you don't have like loads of tattoos.
I've got a couple, yeah, but like, to be fair, I'm actually booked in for a full day in Liverpool, because that's where I get mine done. But yeah, like, I don't think I'm like the idea of being fully covered. But like,
what are you getting on the full day?
I just like getting wee pot work. So I don't know, like, I've got a paint pot with paintbrushes. I've got a heron. There's just like patience. I've got a lotus flower. I've got the Colosseum on my chest, actually. Just like small. But I just like getting wee random bits that I just like in the moment.
So I have loads of different timestamps all over.
Yeah, just like load of wee things that have like a different meaning. Same with like my prints and my paintings. I just like having something that has like another way underlying meaning. And even if it only means something to me, like in a simple way, I was like, oh, yeah, cool.
No, that's class. That's class. Right, so as a little bit of a final wrap up on this one, what is the best bit of advice that you can give to someone who may be in a situation right now where they're thinking, do you know what, I don't know if this is right for me, and the potential thinking about kind of giving up? What would you say to them?
I would say just be consistent and like not chase that short-term gratification. Always have the bigger picture, and just think if you just keep on doing this consistently at a high level for long enough, it will work. And like, if you're worried about it taking how many years, just like, what else are you gonna do in the meantime? You know what I mean? You could just go get another job. Like, the time's gonna pass anyway. That's not like, after doing this for so long, I just realised it's been 4 or 5 years I've been painting, and it still feels like a blink. So it makes you realise, like, I don't even remember all the hard work, but I know I did it. So time's gonna pass anyway, and you're just gonna be glad of it when the moment comes that things start working out. And realistically, it's never going to be as far away as you think.
Yeah,
So,
and if you're struggling with that, you need to buy the print that Jordan's going to be doing on now.
exactly.
Time is precious, and
yeah,
have that in front of your face every day.
We're gonna let you know. Yeah, 100%.
Right, guys. Obviously, nice to introduce Jordan to kind of the YouTube, and obviously, he's been at the event. If you're not following already, make sure that you are. Is it Jordan Breen Art? Is it
Jordan Breen _art on Instagram.
Jordan Breen _art, and you will see what I mean by this guy as one of the most ridiculous talents that I have ever seen. And thank you for coming on, bro.
No worries, that. Thanks for having me. That was.